everyone, it's Jordan, the baby wearing OT, and this is a comparison video of two hip carrier options. This is the Qookie Go and the Neco Up and Down. I'm going to show both of them individually, then we'll talk about some differences, some similarities, and whether or not you might want to use them. So first, let's look at the Qookie Go. The shoulder is a fabric shoulder, which can be fanned out or scrunched back up depending on what level you need to properly cap your shoulder. And then on the back, this is the back side, we have these two adjustable pieces here, and on the front we have another adjustable slider buckle. And so what they recommend is that you set this up with this front one all the way tightened and use the back initially to set the width, and then introduce the front one if needed to get like a larger fit. And then looking at the seat, it's very similar to the shoulder in that it's fabric, fans out, has pleats built in, so can then go back down to a smaller size. And then if you look up here, you have the ability to cinch up this edge as well to get a more supportive fit for your baby. So if you were gonna put your baby in this, like I said, this is the front here with the label, you would start with this one all the way tightened and then put this over your body and get your shoulder situated with this label sitting right under the collarbone. And then if you needed, you could take it off and adjust this buckle. You might have to do that a few times until you find a fit that feels good for you. This feels good for me. Can get a baby in here pretty comfortably. So let me grab my toddler demo doll, put them in, and then we'll talk more about this one. Setup is very similar to a ring sling. I'm going to reach through here, grab my baby's legs, get them situated on my hip, and set down into this seat. And then I could reach in between and pull the seat knee to knee if needed. And then I feel like this is a little bit loose, so I'm going to come in here and just tighten this up a little bit. And then fan out my shoulder. And there we go. This is what the Qookie Go looks like on. The Qookie Go is 100% cotton, can be worn on either shoulder. And something that I want to talk about with this one specifically is they do label it as a hands-free carrier and make the recommendation that you could go hands-free with this. Personally, I think that in a lot of cases, that's not a great recommendation. I think it's going to be very dependent on the size of your baby and also their temperament and the fit that you're able to get. So while this is mimicking the look and feel of a ring sling, it is not the same as a ring sling. There is no strand by strand tightening ability. So like while I have snugged up the top edge here, there is a very big pocket of loose space happening over here in the side. And I also cannot do anything to like reinforce how tight the seat is. I can get it knee to knee, but I can't really control how tight it is. We might be able to snug this up a little and get baby closer to me, but it doesn't really actually change the tensioning happening through the middle and kind of lower part. So while we can snug up that edge on the top, we can't really control the rest of it in a way that gives you that customized, super supportive fit that we're looking for. And so I think with that hands-free recommendation, I personally would probably use this as a carry assist the majority of the time. I think for a very short duration, probably like older baby to young toddler, you could maybe get a safe hands-free fit where the panel height is really appropriate. However, like my son is 2.5 and a little over 3 feet tall. And if we're getting a nice deep seat for him, that panel is already like sitting more like here, which is starting to be outside of the range that I feel comfortable recommending as a safe hands-free fit, because if you have a child who is like being a little wild or playful, they could lean backwards out of that very easily. I also think with very small babies, because this one has a recommendation of 11 to 44 pounds, an 11-pound baby is not going to get the support they need in the middle right here for that to be a safe fit. Like even if I took a smaller baby and put them in here, actually, you know what? Let's do that. Let's talk about that. Okay, so this demo doll is about the size of an average 10-pound baby, so slightly smaller than the 11-pound starting weight. However, we can still use this as a pretty good example of what an 11-pound baby might look like in this. So we can see here that while this panel is giving an appropriate fit as far as like height goes, if you look right here, there's still just like a huge pocket of space here. And I have no ability to really snug that up and get rid of that and get good lateral support. So I think that like realistically it would be pretty easy to get like a slumpy, leany, wiggly baby going sideways very quickly if I was not keeping a hand on them. So I think even with a smaller baby, I don't feel great about the hands-free recommendation. And with a larger baby, babies like 3 feet tall and up, the panel just doesn't provide enough support unless your baby is extremely calm and you're confident that they're not going to like lean backwards out of it to say that this could safely be hands-free. I mean, this is snugged all the way in. This is pretty much all the way tight, and we still just have too much room to really get a nice supportive hands-free fit the same way you would in a ring sling. So while this is a lovely hip carrier option, I think personally I would recommend it be used as a carry assist, as a hip carrier, not so much as a hands-free option personally. Okay, and now let's take a look at the Neko Up and Down. So whereas the Qookie Go has like a fannable shoulder, this one has a fixed width shoulder with a light layer of padding. I personally find the padding level on this to feel really lovely and supportive. And then instead of just fasteners along a piece of fabric, we have buckles on both sides with webbing, and both of the buckles have a safety loop as well. And then if you look here, we've got another nice deep fabric pouch, and this one also has the cincher at the top to be able to snug up the panel as well. And so if we throw this one on, I'm going to tighten this front buckle most of the way, fan it out, and then probably tighten my back one a little bit as well. And then let's grab our toddler demo doll, get them put in and situated, and we'll talk more about this one. Getting them in is going to be the same thing. We're going to reach through, grab their feet. Wow, this thing is fighting me exactly like a real toddler would. Grab their feet, get them situated over on your hip, and then get them scooped into that nice deep seat. And so we can come in here and get that all the way knee to knee on both knees. And then if I wanted to come in here and snug this up a little bit, I can do so. There's one on the other side as well, so you have a little bit more control and the ability to snug up both sides. What I like about this one is that everything is symmetrical. So you've got buckle on the front, same buckle on the back, cinch on the front, same cinch on the back. So when you're switching shoulders, it really is like a truly like easy, no-brainer ability to just go back and forth between shoulders. So again, this one also is giving a really nice fit. Neko does not recommend that this is hands-free. They recommend you use this as more of a traditional toddler carrier, hip carrier. I really appreciate that, because while I feel that this one could also, in a small variety of situations, be safely used hands-free, I like that they are just kind of sticking to a general recommendation that's going to be safest and most supportive of a larger range of families. Okay, so now let's talk about similarities and differences. Similarities, these are both the same type of hip carrier. They both have a really nice, deeper, wider seat that's going to be more supportive than some of the like more questionable models available. They both have the ability to cinch the top of the panel. Neko has cinches on both sides, and then the Qookie Go has it on what would always be like the front side, depending on which shoulder you're wearing it on. The Qookie Go has this tail with the adjustable slider here for tightening on the front, and then has this adjustable slider to lengthen or shorten along the back, whereas the Neko Up and Down has webbing with buckles on both sides that are identical. And then with it having buckles, the Neko Up and Down also has safety loops. Looking at the shoulders, again, we've got that fannable fabric shoulder versus the fixed width, lightly padded shoulder. Both are made with organic cotton, and then of course we have that significant difference in recommendation of use with the Qookie Go saying 11 to 44 pounds and recommends that it can safely be used as a hands-free carrier, and then the Neco Up and Down saying 6 to 36 months and making it very clear that it is not a structured carrier, that it is a carry assist. My personal recommendation for any of these hip carriers lines up more with the Neco Up and Down recommendation of using it as a carry assist. I think ultimately you know what's best for you and your family, and if you feel comfortable with the level of support that this gives and want to use it hands-free, you would technically be within the recommendations for that one. Just my general guidance to generic families on the internet would be that I would probably stick with using these style as more of a carry assist for babies who can sit through toddlerhood. Either way, both of these are really lovely and supportive hip carrier options. I find them very comfortable and supportive for the adult as well as for the older baby toddler. And so I feel comfortable recommending either of these as carry assist hip carry options. I think that it's important to know that if you're going to get this type of carrier, that you make sure you get something that is thoughtfully designed, that has been safety tested, that has durable parts and is not going to just break and fall while you're using it. You also need to make sure that you have something that is adjustable and provides support. Some of the hip carrier options on the market have no way to adjust the fit around the adult or the baby and just provide a really generally unsafe and unsupportive fit even as a carry assist. So if you're looking for a hip carrier option, the Qookie Go and the Neco Up and Down are two of the best in my opinion, and two of the ones that I do feel comfortable recommending as toddler carriers. If you have any questions about either of these, feel free to leave them in the comments and I'm happy to help.